All right, Thoroughbreds. Welcome to another episode of Penalty Broncos for the NRLW edition. I'm a little bit lonesome here with myself at the moment. We don't have anybody else online, so I'm carrying the ship, doing a bit of nut trucking, as they say. But that's all right. We'll get through this one pretty quickly after that great game by the lads. Then put a fair few points. I had a little bet, 51 points or above. I had just missed out on that silly little try that we let in at the death there. But anyway, we move on. That's why it's called gambling and not winning. Gamble responsibly as always. So we are here obviously for the NRLW review and preview show. We're going to talk about the game against the Dragons last weekend and the game that we have up against the Sharks, what will be day one of Magic Round for the NRLW, their very first Magic Round down there at McDonald Jones Stadium. Hopefully, anyone that's going down there will have a ball. I'll just get everything up here working that I need. Um, Hopefully, we get some people chatting as well. It'll be good. So, anyway, I can tell you right now the chat after that game is going off. Thoroughbreds. A lot of people enjoying that one. Okay, so we took on the Dragons down at Wynn Stadium for the fourth round of the NRLW. Out of a capacity of 23,750, 1,864 were in attendance. Very vocal as well. If you watch the game live or either on the replay, it was good stuff to hear. First half was 6-all, very close. A couple of mistakes from both teams, leading into the halftime of their sheds. Second half though, 0-24. The girls came out and absolutely put the Dragons to the sword. That gave us a full-time score of 630 with a win via us. Possession was 43% to the Dragons, 57% to us. Completion rate 62% to the Dragons. They completed 20 out of 32 attempted. We had a completion rate of 80%, which is very good considering the mistakes that we were making prior to this game. 33 sets completed out of 41 attempted. We won the average set meters, 27.04 to the Dragons, 32.81 to us. Tackle efficiency, 80.12% to the Dragons. They completed 266. They missed 49 and had 17 ineffective. We completed at a touch above, 81.25%, 208 completed, missed 30, ineffective 18. Penalties conceded, 10-7. It was really good to see in the second half that we kind of tightened everything up. I think we gave the majority of these away in the first half. Our errors were low as well compared to other weekends. So 18 errors to the Dragons, 11 for us, which was good. We had a sin bin each, one more serious than the other. And we'll get to that as we get through the review. All right. And like we normally do, we normally run through the game. It'll be a little bit quicker tonight, just because it is by myself. So we won't have any of the other lads chin wagging and talking back and forth. So we'll get in, get out, and get into enjoying Magic Round tomorrow. So kickoff, Broncos kickoff, drop back off the kick from the Dragons. Bit of a second phase play allows them to kick on the 50 metres, even though our defence was really good. Matic caught that 5 metres out. Error on the second tackle by Johnson. Typical slow start is what I've got written here. Drop ball from the Dragons takes the pressure off. So I was really looking to see how we were going to start this one. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by all the chat that's going on. Yeah, I was really interested to see how we were going to start this one. The Dragons had sort of had an up and down start to the season. We'd obviously had a bit of a clash with the Roosters the weekend prior. This was a great bounce back game. We really needed to tidy a few things up. Scotty Prince made a few changes during the week to team lists. He brought a netter onto the bench there and a few others mixed around. So he was looking to sort of tidy everything up. And he's done that again this week up against the Sharks, and we'll go into that. Fourth minute, Gale, fifth tackle bomb, has no Dragons players marking it, and Johnson nearly regathers. First tackle, we give away a penalty and let them come up on the field. So this was the danger stuff that I was looking out for. We were slipping into those old ways that sort of cost us early on in the Roosters game. Sixth minute, there was an intercept by Maddock, who had a very sneaky, quiet but great game. It was good to see Maddock getting in and around, doing her stuff on the wing there, is what she's used to doing on the fullback, what she did last year. Some great runs here I've got noted. Gets us to the 51 metre with a 51 metre gain and a good kick. Bree Clark is back as she rocks the Dragons debutante there. It was a great shot that Clark put on. Eighth minute, another error as we try to force a pass that we then knock on. Another penalty on the restart. So things were starting off pretty similar to what we're used to beginning of the season. And I was actually a bit worried. I was like, this is potentially how we lose this in the start of last weekend. So are we going to do the same thing again this weekend? 10th minute, we get our first penalty. So the Dragons are the clean sheet up until this point. But then we lose it one-on-one steal. Bree on Southwell. Southwell really came out of the gates, really tried to put the pressure on Bree early. And she did do it for a little bit there, but eventually dropped off the back end and Bree kept going like the battery, ever-ready battery that she is. I've got a little note here. Can't help but think this messy start will come back to bite us again. So I had my fears. We go to the bench in the 14th minute. Chelsea Lenarduzzi is on, Brianna Clark off. 15th minute, great grubber in behind, sees Ali get trapped in goal for a forced dropout. And we go long, which was good to see as well. Unfortunately, though, tried a Tegan Barry after on that set. Forward pass, I thought, but that's obviously up for debate. Probably still a little bit salty from the men's game that weekend as well. Kick converted 6-0 to the Dragons. At this point in the stats, 63% of possession was with the Dragons, 66% completion from both teams, 3 to 4 errors, and a 1 to 3 penalty count. Dragons go to their bench. For the first time. Ingram goes on, and Hannah Southwell comes off. Was a little bit surprised to see Southwell going off. I thought she had a bit more in the tank, considering she is the lock for them. The set after point, so we kick off. The Dragons attempt to stop it with the foot. Offside player regathers it. Bit of a brain fart there. We get a repeat set for offside. Upton nearly gets lucky with a messy kick defusal. 21st minute, interchange 2 for the Dragons. Zali Hopkins comes on. Maynard Penryn goes off for a rest. 22nd minute, Ali gets caught on the 5th and the ball only a few metres out. It's a little bit unfortunate. I understand what they were trying to do, but it would have been good to get to our kick. But the Dragons keeping us out around mess, but it's a bit messy from both teams at this point. Upton has diffused 2 attempts at a 40-30 so far. Made a little note of that. She was obviously identified something that the Dragons were doing at the beginning of the season. Couple of interchanges here to 22nd minute. Interchange 2 and 3 for us. Destiny Brill comes on. Jada Ferguson goes off. Aneta Claudia Nuasala goes on. Keely Joseph comes off for a breather. And then over on the Dragons, Pia Tapsell goes on. Madison Mulhall goes off. Bree at this point, Bree Spreadra, 17 tackles. We are 23 minutes into the game. Keely Joseph, 18 tackles. And I made a little note here as well that we were slowly starting to shore things up. Just hold the ball, get to our kick, and defend. 62% and 69% completion, which kind of backs that up that we were just sort of working our way into just completing our sets and getting through the game. 25th minute, we have a melee line break. A great run by Hafunga. Brill gets folded close to going over. Tapsell folds her and a teammate at the same time. Very lucky not to get an injury for the Dragons out of that one. But well done to Destiny for copping that one like a true champion. Interchange 4, Brianna Clark on, Chelsea Lenarduzzi off. So Chelsea's done her stint and given the run on team a bit of a breather. And then in the 29th minute, I've got a note here. Holy shit, Ali Brigginshaw nearly killed a girl. Hospital ball to Millard off a fourth tackle kick. Ali with a great kick chase to get there first, and it just forces a knock on as well. We get an opportunity close to the line out of that, but we knock it on once again. And I've just written there a little bit frustrated at this point. I can see what the girls are trying to do, but I've just got we are killing ourselves. Little did I know what was coming up in the second half, obviously, at this point. Dragons go interchange number 4, Hannah Southwell back on, and Trinity comes off. In the 31st minute, Maddock dropped a bomb to give the Dragons a set 30 metres out. We absorbed that set with some great defence to force a loose ball. And then in the 33rd minute, a try to Julia Robinson. We run it on the 5th. Cutout ball from Ali to Maddock, who gets a line break. Pass back inside for an unmarked Julia, who runs around 15 metres to score. Dangerous just like that. Just like the damn try against the Roosters. A little inside, back into inside, and back again. But the errors are just costing us. Bree Clark kicking. I thought that was okay. Bree's kicked previously. Romney hasn't had the greatest kick strike rate this year. So kick converted, and it's 6-all as we go into the second half. The stats stand at 52% to 48% to the Dragons. Completion rate 63% to the Dragons, 70% for us. We had completed 12 out of 17 sets. So again, very slowly just creeping that percentage rate up. 1 line break to 2, 19 tackle breaks to 11, 31.02 average set distance to 30.11. So the Dragons were beating us in the tackle breaks and the average set distance there. Offloads were 4 apiece. Dummy half passes. This is something that Ringer would be very interested in. It was 7-1. So we weren't going back onto what we know best when it comes to dummy half and support play. We were getting outclassed there by a lot to the Dragons. Kick defusal, 67% to 100%. I found that a little bit intriguing, that stat, when I pulled it up, because I don't think we were at 100% for the kick defusal. Effective tackles, 86.81% to 84.02. 11 missed tackles to 19. Ineffective tackles, 8-all. 8-all in the errors as well, and the penalty count was 5-4 by way Dragons. So I think the message in the sheds from Princey would have just been, if we tidy it all up, the points will come and we'll get out of this a lot easier. And he's probably stressed the same thing that we've seen against the Roosters. If we don't do it, then we will be beaten. So we kick off in the second half. The set, so obviously we receive. We get a 60-metre gain and we get to our kick. Kick is diffused, but they have to bring it out from their 10-metre line. So a great way to start. Kerry Johnson does about 30 metres in a kick return shortly after that, and 6 tackle breaks, I reckon, in that one run. She was on a bit of a heater there. Same set, Anetta does a great run, very strong as well. Post-contact metres for that set would have been through the roof. And we've obviously really started to aim up straight out the gate. So it's good to see. 39th minute, after a grubber from Upton goes dead in goal, the Dragons get a 7-tackle set, but they have an error. Anetta is being a bit of a problem for the defence once again, and that's why she's probably pushed onto that starting role for tomorrow's game. Try to Johnson, Kerry Johnson on the wing there. Great floating pass from Gale to Johnson, gets her one-on-one, which she does easy. Tegan Berry leads with the knees as Johnson scores 8-point try, and Berry in the sin bin for 10. Very unusual, I thought, for that. I know that it's very dangerous with the leads with the knees, but I thought that if it was an 8-point try, then you don't get your player in the bin. If you get your player in the bin, you don't get an 8-point try. It's one of those things where what would you rather give away the 8-point try and have your full team on the field, or lose a player? Lose a player but hand over 8 points. Anyway, Kerry stays on the field, gets a bit of attention there from the medics. Kick from the sideline, miss. Kick in front converted, so it's 6-12. The Dragons go to their interchange for number 5 for them. Bronte Wilson comes on. Pierre Tapsell goes off. The set after those points, 70-metre gain, and we get a kick away. Great running by the girls, really aiming up. Julia Robinson, Anetta, back to back is pretty hard to handle. Gale can't regather a ball on the kick that we have. Bree picks it up and puts it down for a try. So straight away, immediately after we score points, we back it up with points again. Again, Anetta a problem, like I said. Bunker review on the contest from Gale, but it's confirmed. Kick converted, 6-18. The set after those points, set started on the 20 metres. Hair pull penalty gets us another set from 50 metres out. Messy play sees Keeley trapped with the football on the 5th, 20 metres out. 6 minutes to go at this point in the sin bin. Bree spread bruise on 26 tackles at this point as well, and we're 46 minutes into the game. The interchange then occurs. Keeley comes on. Anetta goes off for a well-earned break. 47th minute, huge kick from the Dragons, goes too deep, and we get a 7-tackle set. We went for the inside-outside play again, but Ferguson went down with the ball. It was good to see that they don't commit fully. If it's not on, they just die with the play. So that was handy. 47th minute for interchanges. There's a few here. So interchange 6 for the Dragons. Madison comes on for Ingram, who goes off. And we do a swap out where Jada comes back on along with Chelsea Lenarduzzi. And Destiny Brill goes off for Brianna Clark. And Brianna Clark as well goes off for a breath. 49th minute, another floater from Gale to Johnson, but this time Johnson drops it. We give away a penalty on the Dragons' next set to give them a piggyback into our own territory as well. 51st minute, the Dragons with the chance 2 metres out, dummy half, bullet pass to Southwell. Berry comes back on at that point, but Southwell drops it forward over the dead ball and we get a 7-tackle set. The play wasn't on. I'm not sure what the communication around that play was, but unfortunate execution for them. But they are back to full strength now. In the 52nd minute, we have a try to Tamika Upton. Some hot potato stuff, but once Upton spots the try line, she's beeline for it. It all gets confirmed. Category 1 for the 5/8 from the Dragons out of that play as well. Kick converted by Romy. So Bree Clark has surrendered that kicking as well, and it's 6-24. Interchanges, what do we got here? Yeah, so the interchange for the Dragons, number 7, Trinity goes on, Hannah Southwell off. Hannah Southwell again with another interchange. Very unusual, I thought, for their lock anyway, to get two breathers. Then we have an interchange for the HIA with no return for their 5/8. So Casey Ray was the 5/8. She comes off and fails, obviously, and Nita Maynard Perrin comes on for that one. The set after those points, we make great territory into the Dragons' half. Pressure tried to be applied to Ali, but the Dragons knock it on for a repeat 35-metre out. The next set is a little messy, but in the 60th minute, try to Lenarduzzi, typical Chelsea try, just around the middle of the field, always hunting. She crashes over under the sticks. Kick converted by Romy. We are now 6-30. That also brought up a good win, good multi that we put on the previous one. So I've got a bit of pressure this week. When we get to the preview against the Sharks, I've got to come up with a multi to see if we can keep a little bit of a streak going. But we got our try scorers, we got our 13 plus, and one of them obviously was Chelsea. So that was a good little win, good little pep in the step. We go to the interchange twice. Brianna Clark on, Chelsea off. Interchange number 9, Skylar Adams comes on. Malay Hafunga goes off. This was interesting. I thought Skylar was meant to be Ali's successor, so I expected to see Ali come off and Skylar go on for a little bit of a game there, but she played in the centres for a bit. It wasn't too bad. Obviously, it's the 60th minute that she came on, so she only had 10 minutes of gameplay, but still, she's getting out there nonetheless, so it was good to see. The set after points, there is a strip attempt by the Dragons, but that fails. Brisbane with a repeat set from 20 out of their own line. So it was early on in the tackle count. Great run by Romy on the third, gets us within 10 metres, but we can't execute from there. Broncos kick, but straight to the bread basket. I think it was a fullback for that. And then the rest of the game, the rest of the 10 minutes is kind of set for set stuff. We do one more interchange. Aneta comes on, Bree goes off, and the Dragons do their 8th interchange with Ingram going on and Bronte Wilson coming off. We got Whiskey on, mate. How you going? Glad you could join us here. We're just running through the review game. If you've only just joined us, by means, guys, if you are watching, drop something into the comments. Have a chat with amongst yourselves as we go through this. 66th minute, Gale attempts an intercept, but knocks it on. Following Dragons set, there is a lost ball and Robinson comes up with it. In the 69th minute, Ali gets done for a professional foul, sent to the bin with 10 seconds to go. A little bit of holding down, trying to slow the play of the ball. Rightfully so. It was definitely a professional foul and she did need to go to the bin for it. But we just wear out the clock. The Dragons did try to do a bit of a Hail Mary just to get some sort of points at the end there, but unfortunately they knocked it on. So that is the game run through for that one. Obviously we end up with the win 6-30. Put it out to you guys. Thoroughbred man of the match came back, a resounding Julia Robinson. Huge game from Julia, and almost she did score a try, but it was almost very under the radar kind of game from Julia. Just doing her thing. It was just the meters were coming very easy for every run she did. But she played 70 minutes. Obviously the 4 points with 1 try, 23 runs for 241 metres with 103 post contact. Just an absolute machine. Dummy half, she did 1 run from there for 17 metre gain. 1 line break assist, 8 tackle breaks, 10 tackles with 1 missed and 1 ineffective for an 83.33% efficiency. And the biggest one of all, which I always love to see, 0 errors. So that was good. My woman of the match, Jada Ferguson. I could have gone a few. There was obviously Bree. Ali had a great game. Aneta had another great game. Chelsea crossed for a try. There's a few others in there as well. But I just had to go for Jada. She's been solid for quite a few games now. And she's really come out of her shell, I guess you could say, since last year. She still had good games last year, but just playing that Origin this year, I think it's really brought it out of her. 44 minutes, 7 runs for 50 metres with 11 post contact. However, she did 4 dummy half runs for 32 metres, which I thought was a pretty good strike rate. 4 tackle breaks, 2 offloads, 18 tackles with 2 missed and 0 ineffective for a 90% efficiency. And again, another massive one, 0 errors. So congratulations to Jada and Julia. I think Julia also got the Macca's Woman of the Match on the day as well. So well deserved there. Some of the top stats now. Most tackles, Bree Spreadbrook topped it again. I think this is like the 3rd or 4th, probably the 3rd in a row. I think she's done it. Hale for the Dragons went 45 tackles. Most run meters, Julia Robinson, 180 meters. Elliston from the Dragons at 136. Most line breaks went to Spreadborough with 3. The Dragons didn't record a line break at all, so really good defense there by the girls. Most points went to Romy at 12. Most post-contact meters went to Robinson at 51. Elliston had 53 for the Dragons. Most runs, Robinson. Most runs for the Dragons as well was Elliston. Most offloads went to Ferguson with 2, and Lafipo, I think it is, had 3 for the Dragons. Most tackle breaks actually went to Bree Spreadborough. So not only was she making them, but she was also breaking them. 13 there. The next closest Dragon had 3. Pretty impressive stuff. In the backs, for stats, so we had Tamika Upton, Kerry Johnson, Mele Hafunga, Julia Robinson, and Hayley Maddock. Melly had a break there. She was the only one in the back line that didn't play the full 70. Everyone scored a try except for Mele and Hayley. Julia Robinson, we've obviously been through her run stats, 23, 241 metres with 103 post contact. But she had, I think it was the most tackle breaks in the back line there. And then she was the best tackle efficiency as well with the 10 made, 1 missed, 1 ineffective. But errors, clean sheets went to Upton, Hafunga, and Robinson. So it was good to see there with that. Then we've got Gail Broughton, Ali Brigginshaw, and Jada Ferguson, the halves there. 70 minutes to Gail and Ali, 44 to Jada. Jada made the most run meters out of those guys. She also had the most tackle breaks. She had the best tackle efficiency with 18, 2, and 0 for that 90%, as mentioned before. Ali kicked 9 times for 174 meters, and Jada was the only one with the clean sheet for the errors. In the engine room, we had Keely Joseph, Bree Clark, Laura Dam, Romy, and Bree Spreadborough. Laura and Romy punched out 70 minutes. Keely punched out 46. Bree had 43. Spreadborough had 64. Bree Clark had the most points because of the kicking that she did and the 1 try that she also scored. All runs, though, Bree Spreadborough actually topped the meterage. So she had 19 runs, which was the most, but she made 153 meters. Romy pipped her for most post contact. Romy had 70, so that was pretty impressive. But Bree obviously had the most tackle breaks as well. Tackle efficiency, Queen went to Brianna Clark, 92%. She made 24, missed 2, had 0 ineffective. And no one, unfortunately, had clean sheets when it came to the errors in the engine room. Onto the bench, Destiny Brill, Chelsea Lindaduzzi, Anetta Nuasala, and Skylar Adams. Skylar only got the 9 minutes. Anetta had 30, which was good to see. Chelsea had 27 minutes, so that was good. And Destiny was out there for 26. Chelsea and Anetta went head-to-head when it came to run meters. Chelsea had 10 runs for 90 meters, 37 post-contact, but Anetta had 7 runs, 90 meters and 48 meters post-contact. So like I said, Anetta was an absolute problem, and that's why she's probably earned that run-on spot for the game tomorrow. Anetta had 6 tackle breaks. Chelsea went 100% clean sheet for her tackles. She only made 9, but 0 miss, 0 ineffective. And Anetta made 9 as well, 0 miss and 1 ineffective. So really great tackling. And shout out to Skylar for being the only one on the bench that went clean sheeted. So even with her 10 minutes. All right, on to the week ahead now. We have the injury list. So we still have Shanae Sissoko. She's doing rehab on her knee. Still to be confirmed when she's coming back. Tara McGrath West, we've got a estimated return. She'll either be back next week or the week after doing rehab on that foot. Regan Hicks comes off. She's on the extended squad this week. So she's back from her suspension of 2 games from the Titans game with that dangerous lift. Taylor the Tape. So, like I said, first Magic Round for the NRLW is being held at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. We will face off against the team that knocked us out of the finals last year. Redemption will be on the cards for sure. As we look to the right wrongs, that was a home ground advantage squandered by us to be kept scoreless at Totally Workwear Stadium. The Sharks went on to play in the grand final against the eventual winners, the Sydney Roosters. So, tail of the tape. We have played them 3 times in NRLW history. Unfortunately, we've won 2, and the only loss was in that final series last year. So, a bit of a bitter taste in our mouth. Um, we're currently second on the ladder. They are fifth. We have had a 3 out of 4 start, 75% to the season. They have had a 2 out of 4, 50%. Premiership odds. We're at $2.63. The Sharkies are at $15. For this game, the odds are $1.25, while the Sharks are out to $4. Last time we met, as I said, we were held scoreless. It was a 0-14 loss. And in the last 5 games, we've obviously started with the Tigers Titans win, a loss to the Roosters, and then a win to the Dragons. The Sharkies have gone Eels loss, Raiders win, Cowboys loss, Tigers win. Um, so they've had a bit of a up and down. You would have thought the Eels, I thought, was a bit of an upset, but now that we're looking at a Cowboys sort of loss here as well, and only wins against the Raiders and the Tigers, then maybe the Eels game wasn't as much of an upset as I thought it was going to be. So this is where the pressure gets to me to keep going with something. We are going to flick over onto our betting platform here and see if we can't piece together a little bit of a multi. Since I wrote this, we were at $1.25. We've come into $1.22. The Cronulla Sharks are out to $4.25. The line is 12.5. And I'm probably going to have a little bit of a nibble to see if we can get a 13 plus win. I think what we'll do is, just straight off the bat, I'm going to go to the 12.5 line. I reckon that is a great thing that we can do. Get rid of that, and then I'm going to go unders though, under 38.5. So we'll go that, and then we'll sneak in here and we'll get a little bit of a anytime try scorer. We've obviously got to go with a Julia Robinson. We're going to leave Chelsea Lenarduzzi on the bench just for 1 week. We missed her in the first couple of games, but we've loaded up on her. She got us our multi. She was the last leg to fall in our multi last weekend, so we will give her a bit of a rest. But I am going to go Melee. Melee has been really quiet, and I feel like this is a big game. So if we put that together, we've got a Brisbane Broncos women negative 12.5 line. We've got under 38.5 total match points. Julia Robinson anytime, and a Melee Hafunga. That's giving you $19.75. So you heard it here first, guys. Hopefully we can keep the streak running. Bet for the fun of it, not for the rent. And best of luck with you. I'll put that on the. Good thing I checked which group we were in for that bet. That could have been really awkward if it was the Supercoast one. Okay, onto the team list now to finish up. We'll go through the Sharkies first. Apologies, ladies, if you do listen to this. I will say your name to the full if I am confident. Otherwise, I'm going to say just your first and last or your last name. So Emma Veron at fullback, Casey Staples on the wing, Tiana Panatani Gray in the centres there. That's their captain. Anessa Biddle at the other centre, Georgia Ravix on the other wing, Georgia Hanaway at 6, Shantae at 7, Ellie Johnston at 8, Quincy Dodd at 9, Jacinta Carter at 10, Manlita at 11, Anna Maria Kira Ratu, I think it is, at 12, Talia Holmes at lock. On the interchange, we've got Tyler King, Grace Lee Weeks, Nakia Davis Welsh at 16, and Coretti Lalua at 17. Onto the Broncos, Tamika Upton, captain, Kerry Johnson, Melly Hafunga on one side, Julie Robinson, Hayley Maddock on the other, Gail Broughton at half, Ali Bringshaw, the other captain, at 7, Aneta Claudia Nuasala onto the 8, like I mentioned before. So run on first game for her this year. Jada Ferguson at 9, Brianna Clark at 10, Lauren Dam at 11, Romney Tizel at 12, and Keely Joseph has been moved to 13. On the interchange, Destiny Brill at 14, Chelsea Lenarduzzi at 15, Bree Spreadborough at 16. Obviously, that shuffle with Anetta moving from the bench to the run on. Keely back to her usual position at lock from last year. There had to be a victim there, and it was Bree. Good to see that she's kept her spot, though. I'd imagine she's coming on as a bit of an impact player. And then Shalom Salsa, I think it's how you say the name. She's back from that sternum injury that's seen her miss the Roosters game. She's at 17 there. So, like I said, I think the whole movement around is the fact that Anetta is such a problem for the defense of other teams straight off the bat as soon as she comes on. She'll have a crack at some fresh defenders this week, so we'll see how she goes. Keely, a tackling machine. She's not out of place at lock there. And Bree, I kind of do like it. It sucks because we obviously are massive fans of Bree here, that she's not on the run on, just doing her thing, doing her little ever ready thing, running around, tackling everything, and running and doing those mad runs that she does do. But coming off the bench as an impact player could be a game breaker up against the Sharks. The loss to the Roosters, so we started out with 2 easy wins. We had the Tigers and the Titans, obviously. Then we went up against the heavyweights. We lost because of our own fault. I'm still saying that. I still think that if we didn't have that 15-minute, 20-minute period at the start where we kind of dropped everything and just didn't take advantage, that we would have won that game. We came home with a wet sail. So yeah, the Sharky game will be a great sort of leveler to see where we are for the season before we move on from there. And if I have a look at our draw after this Magic Round, after the Magic Round, we go the Raiders away, so we'll be at GIO Stadium for that. We come back to versus the Eels at Suncorp Stadium. Then we have the Knights, the Bulldogs, the Warriors, and the Cowboys. Cowboys will be a finished game at home. So if we can knock off the Sharkies, you would think that they are one of the top dogs. That'll put us in great stead. The Eels and the Knights obviously will be a problem. Not sure about the Bulldogs yet. They started strong, but since then they've come up against some heavy competition. So we've yet to see where they sort of settle with the thick of it. Travelling over to New Zealand as well in round 10 will be interesting. We'll see how the girls go over there. They will be playing FMG Stadium in Hamilton. Okay, that is us for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This will be up as a regular podcast tomorrow morning if you did miss. So thanks for joining in for the live. If you were here, appreciate it. If you are listening afterwards, please hit the like button and subscribe on whatever platform that you are listening to us. It really helps us with the algorithm and to get the platform growing here. Head over to our socials. Make sure you're on there. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We do drop on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, all that good stuff. Give us a like, follow, or a comment, and subscribe if you can. Like I said, bet responsibly, be a contributor to society, stay out of one another unless it's consensual, and we'll gallop off into the week. Enjoy Magic Round. Let's go Broncos.